What is going on, y'all? Welcome to Joel Friday TV. I am Joel Friday. Welcome to the show. A few announcements before we get started. Hit that like button. Smack it. Lay the smack down on the like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we get the subscribers up and the message out. Do it now. Help a brother out. And as you guys know, we are live Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Punchy.tv. And at any point during the show, you guys can call in at 888-775-3773, 888-775-3773, and we can talk about whatever you want to get into. Mixing the race, the Donald Trump, the Obamas, the whatever. We can get into it. So you can call in at 888-775-3773. If for whatever reason you can't call in, but you still have a question or comment that you just got to get out, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV or go directly to the YouTube live chat, hit the super chat button there, and I'll read your question or comments live on air. So you do have those options, y'all. Make sure you use them. Use the options. Amazing stuff. Let's get into it. What are we talking about today? Oh, we talk about that race mixing. We getting into the race mixing and maybe some other stuff. But we're going to start with the race mixing, okay? I got some callers already getting in there on that. Everybody want to talk about the races. I ain't mad at it. Call in if you want to. But we're going to get into mixed racing. Is it bad? Is it good? Is it wrong? Is it right? Is it good? Is it evil? I'm going to tell you what I think. David Morgan with the super chat out the gate. Let's mix it up. That's right. We getting into it. I think David is referring to the topic at hand. Mixed racing. Is David saying that we should mix it up? Mix up all the colors together? Mix them all in? What is David saying? Thank you, David. I appreciate it. David Morgan. David Morgan sounds like a country artist name. You hear that new David Morgan song? It's so good. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Let's get into it. Is it wrong to race mix? Interracial relationships, interracial children. Is it bad? Is it wrong? First, before we get into that, and then I will get to the calls and the super chats as well. Before we get into that, I want to say this, and I have to say this. Think for yourself, okay? And know for yourself. No matter what I say or anybody else say, think for yourself and know for yourself. That way you're not led astray or you're not wrestling with something that you don't need to worry about. Because for a long time, I was getting advice from people about whatever, and I didn't properly understand it, or maybe I disagreed, whatever it may have been at that time. I wrestled with a lot of the stuff I was learning, and it only brought me conflict. So think for yourself and know for yourself, and don't just hold on to it because you heard somebody say it. I know you guys may already know that, but let it go in one ear out the other, literally. That way you're not wrestling with something and causing problems for yourself or your relationship or whatever, because now you have this new information. You know what I mean? Like, let it go and just keep doing what you're doing, and it'll all be revealed in due time, and you won't have to stress or worry about it or feel pain. So think for yourself and know for yourself. Don't believe nothing I say. Okay. With that being said, first thing I want to say is that salute to all my German chocolates, says the Keon with the super chat. Shout out to the German chocolates. Thank you, Key, for the donation. First thing I want to say is that if you have hate or resentment for your parents, I want to preface that. If you have hate or resentment for your parents, there is going to be a rejection. It doesn't necessarily mean the rejection will be in the form of color, right, or race, but there is a rejection that happens. And when you forgive or let go, or you're close to your parents, you tend to date what is familiar. Even when you reject them, you tend to date what is familiar. It's an interesting thing. But when you hate them, you may run away, right? But when you don't hate your parents, you've forgiven your parents, or you have no issue with your parents, you tend to find what is familiar. That is true, right? You find what is familiar. But familiar doesn't necessarily mean color to me. Familiar doesn't necessarily mean the same color. Typically, yeah, it may happen that way because you're used to seeing your parents looking a certain way, and you're being around all your family members who are look a certain way, and there's no resentment or hatred there. Well, there shouldn't be, right? But you just kind of gravitate more to that. But I don't think that's the end all be all. And I'm going to tell you why. Because to me, race has nothing to do with anything. Zero. Race has nothing to do with it when it comes to dating or mixing. Race has nothing to do with it. Race has nothing to do with the reason why things don't work. Race has nothing to do with the reason why it looks weird to other people. Race has nothing to do with it. Why? It's because look at the people who aren't race mixing. There's people who aren't race mixing, marrying the same color and everything, and they still ain't working out. It still ain't working. They still divorcing. You know what I mean? Same culture, same color and everything, and they still got problems. Still cheating. So to me, it's not a color thing. People don't race mix, in my opinion, for two reasons. Okay? Sorry, people don't mix in relationships for two reasons. And this is my opinion. Is for one, on a spiritual level, it wasn't added, right? It didn't come together the right way, right? God didn't bring it together. So on a spiritual level, that's most important, right? Whether it was forced, whether you guys like each other for the wrong reasons, whatever. It wasn't brought together in the proper way. So regardless of the color, two of the same mixed up, one green, one orange, it don't matter. If it wasn't brought together in the right way, problems, not gonna work. Or just not gonna last, right? On a spiritual level. But most people live on a practical level, right? And on a practical level, the reason why things don't work, mixing doesn't work, is because different cultures, okay? Different cultures. To me, it's more comes down to that than the color, right? Because culture, for the most part, and I'm going to talk about what culture is in itself. What a mess. But culture, for the most part, has no color. right? Because you can be white in a black neighborhood, grew up with blacks, or you could be black and grew up with whites. And you can conduct yourself differently. You can act differently. So I think a lot of the times when it doesn't work, it is, I don't know about a lot of times, I don't know the percentages, but it's because the cultures are different cultures. And I realized one thing though. The most important thing is, for one, if it comes together in the right way, then all that stuff is taken care of. Culture and similarities and interests, all that stuff is taken together because it came together in the right way, right? But all in all, there ain't no culture in God. God don't have no culture. And that's the thing. I hear a lot of stuff about, well, it's different culture, whatever, all kinds of stuff. But God, there's no culture in God. God doesn't have a culture. And being born again, right, overcoming, doesn't mean that your culture is gone now, what you grew up, and your culture basically is what you grew up around, right? Your environment, whether it be a black culture where you guys talk a certain way, the behavior patterns are the same. It's all just behavior patterns, right? And the way you conduct yourself, the things you listen to, all that is culture, but all that is like fallible. Like it's subjective. And it can change. And it's not concrete. You know what I mean? It all is based off of like what you've learned due to the people you're around. It's like personality, right? It's like personality. It's like you pick up these things over time that you like or you're interested in, or the people around you accept you in this way. So you start behaving that way, but that's not who you are. Culture is not who you are. That's why I say there's no God in culture, right? Because, yeah, everybody is an individual. Could you imagine being up in heaven and there be a black community? And I ain't never been to heaven, so I can't tell you that, you know. But imagine there being a black community or Asian community in heaven. You know what I mean? Like, there's no culture in God. So when it comes to race mixing, I don't have no interest in telling somebody what they can and can't do, right? For one, I'm not God. That would be me playing God. And for two, listen, let God do what he has to do. Let God do what he's supposed to do. And color itself is the silly. And I think it's because I was raised amongst like a bunch of different people. Mexicans, whites, blacks. I was raised amongst different people. So it's more acceptable for me. But also, I'm grateful for that because I never looked at me being different than other people. I never looked at me being like, oh, this is my community, your community. No, we were just who we are. We were just who we are. And I liked who I liked, and it just was what it was. I don't understand like the emphasis that I hear nowadays on the color thing. I don't understand it. And then there's a temptation to want to say, well, if you want to go if you're white and you want to go date a black, or if you're black, you want to go date a white, go do it. But it's not even that either. It's not even that either. I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying now oh, it's acceptable. You should race mix. If you're white, go date you a black. I'm not saying that either, because Hollywood taking that too far. They have like crazy stuff. I seen a movie to where the husband was white, the wife was black, played by Whoopi Goldberg, and the son was Asian. What the? Taking a joke too far now. How a white and a black make an Asian? So I'm not saying now go do it. I'm just saying that when it comes together in a proper way, let it be what it's going to be. Who knows how it's going to work? Who knows who you're going to end up with? But I will say one thing I know for sure is that when God brings it together, all that little stuff with culture and all that stuff is taken care of, right? Because he's going to bring you together with somebody who you guys connect with in general. And all that stuff is taken care of, whether you guys come from the same culture, whether you just speak the same language. And that's all that's important. You guys understand each other. There's an understanding there. And you don't make that happen. God works on our behalf. So I wouldn't put so much emphasis on the race mixing thing. If it happened, cool, fine. But if it doesn't happen, fine either. But there should be no protesting on stopping to the race mix stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's silly. Mind your own business, for one. Mind your own business. So that's what I got to say about that. I had some calls, maybe a call or two about that specifically, and I got some more mess I want to get into. But let me go to Josh out of Georgia. Josh, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man.
How's it going, Josh? All is well.
All right. Yeah, I like this topic, race mixing, man. This is I think just what's going on in the country now, it's just a big, deep topic in that.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I see it as it's like being gay, or sodomy is like oral S word, right?
Okay.
So, we've all done that. People can't help it because there isn't a free will, right? People can't help it. So you can't call it right or wrong, but it should be in the closet,
What do you mean exactly? You mean race mixing should be in the closet?
Yeah. I see it as the same thing as being gay.
That it's something to be overcome.
Yeah. But gay people can't help it. We shouldn't hate them. And yeah, it shouldn't be. But race mixing now is promoted. It's promoted in the mainstream.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. Nothing should be promoted. I think that's the false way to go about it. But do you think the same race should be in the closet as well?
No. What you mean the same race?
Like if a white dates a white, should that be in the closet as the same way that a black should date a white?
Well, it should. No, that should not be in the closet. That should be promoted.
And why do you think that? And why promote one and why not the other?
Because that's the bigger picture is that they hate white people. The government hates white people. They want to make the country less white. Right. And that gives them more control over all of us and makes the country more ghetto and more of a third world country. Right. Which is, me as a black guy, I want the country more 10% non-white and 90% black. Right, but why 90% white. I'm sorry, 90% white. Yeah.
But back to the topic though, why do you want to put the race mixing in the closet and the not race mixing out in the public?
Because that's proper. That's like.
Okay, go ahead.
Like in the 40s, 30s, where like, you know, it was. You know, there wasn't any birth control in the 30s and 40s, so the S word was, you know, you only did that to make a baby.
Right.
That's how it should be. I'm pro segregation. I think we would have been better off if we never integrated.
So, okay, you still haven't told me why races should be promoted who stick together are the same race. Why are they? What makes them the more special relationship?
I would say it's not special. It's the natural way of things.
And what makes it natural?
Because it's races all over the world, not just America. You know, they stick to their own races. Japanese, like when I was in high school, I don't know about your high school, but all the black kids, there's the black table where all the black kids sat, and all the white kids, it's just naturally sat at the white table with all the white skateboarder dudes, right? But and we didn't. It wasn't mean or nothing. It was just we just naturally segregated, right?
No, I agree with that.
No bad will. Yeah,
I agree with that. I just want to add to that though, but also because the black people who were at those tables all grew. They grew up amongst each other. Because when I was in high school, I didn't sit at the black people tables. That wasn't because I just didn't feel comfortable there. Didn't feel like I fit there. So, what about the people who aren't raised amongst the black community or amongst the Asian community, and they don't necessarily relate to them? Should they still stick with that? In your opinion?
Well, you know, I'm kind. I would. You know what? Hold on, this is deep. I would say where I'm at right now in my life, I would purposely not race mix with a white girl because I want there to be more white babies. If I had to race mix, I would race mix with a non-white girl.
Can I be honest with you, Josh? I'm gonna be honest with you, Josh. All you're saying, and that's why it's hard for me to understand. All you're saying is stuff that I've heard said at Bond, but you're not really saying why you're doing it. Like you're just saying, I'm asking you why, and then you're saying, well, because I want all white babies. That's just another saying now that you're saying.
Is. Right.
But why though?
That's just what the current situation now. But as far as, it's like, I think right now, wait a minute. Okay, for right now, it's almost like I'm not compatible with most black women. I'm only more compatible with like Section 8 black women that are uneducated black women.
What is that?
You know?
So what is that, like Section 8, like ghetto?
Probably, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't be compatible with like a Candace Owens. She's too.
I see.
Her ego's too big. I need like just a quiet girl, black girl and that's rare because most black women are like super educated. They're trying not to be a quiet, but I mean, but if that didn't answer your question.
No, right? that makes more. No, that actually makes more sense to what because you gave me an example. Is that you wouldn't date you're more into the Section 8 ones than the Candace Owens ones. But guess what? Right there, those are both black girls, so it's not color, it's culture, right? Or part of its culture is that you're maybe more used to the Section 8 ones, and you're not used to the Candace Owens ones.
See, no, the thing is, I went to college and I've only mostly dated the Candace Owens types, and I see they do not. Only like a super weak beta male guy is compatible with them.
With the educated ones. With the
Candace Owens, with the educated big ego ones.
Okay.
And and she won't obey you. You know, she see y'all as equal.
So so you like the Section 8 ones. Because
they're actually more. They're just natural. They're natural.
Okay.
They're more. They know a man should be the leader. She gonna have your food ready in the morning and dinner ready right on the table. She don't care about trying to work on her career. She'll probably have 8 or 9 kids for you, and
I get that.
That's a different one, but that don't got nothing to do with race mixing, or does it?
No, but see, I understand. You're right. That's the point I want to make, is that I understand what you're saying now, but I don't think that has to do with race. That just what you just pointed out to are just qualities that good qualities that you and I agree with that a woman should have, and I think that's more important to me than what she looks like on the outside. Okay,
here's what we probably don't agree on.
Okay.
Segregation is better because I'd say it's just natural. It's just natural for blacks to be with blacks. It's natural for Asians to be with Asians. It's like there's a black barbershop. It's just naturally a black barbershop, and then there's a white barbershop. Or most white guys cut their own hair, right? Like Hake, right?
Yeah. I'm a black guy. I cut my own hair. What the?
Oh, nice, you based. I cut my own hair. Last time I haircut, I got a big afro now too. Last time I did it myself, bro.
Nice,
I don't like
man.
Black, I don't like black barbershops.
Yeah, because they be pushing your hairline back.
Yeah, they do that on purpose, bro. They hate you. I don't like that. That's like a passive aggressive thing.
Right, you might be making a point there. Because they all did it to my hair. I was like, I'm not doing this no more.
Yeah. Do it yourself, bro. Do it yourself.
But that's interesting, with the segregation thing. When it comes to that, and you say that it's natural, you could be making a point here about that. But I'm trying to understand what makes it natural for blacks to be with blacks and whites to be with whites.
Because it's like that's just what. That's just. It may be different in the South. Everyone knows that down in the South. It's black people and white people have been more around each other for decades and decades.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of the country, there ain't very many black. Most of the black people are in the Southeast, and I don't know. It's just known. It's just known. Like my brother married a white girl actually. And and it's weird when she comes to the family. But they've been married for like 10 years now. But
you said it's weird when she comes around.
When she first met her, it's weird, like a straight up white girl. But now I'm the weird guy. I'm the Trump supporter now. I'm the weird one in the family.
I see.
I took the pressure off of them.
So when you and your brother walk in, they're like, "Look at those two weirdos. They both ain't with us."
I don't know. I mean, it's more common now.
Yeah,
interracial is more common now. This was when they got married 10 years ago. It wasn't as common as it is now.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, it is an interesting point about the segregation thing being natural. To me, to be honest, and then I got to move the calls here. I never looked at it in that way. Like, I feel I was more comfortable around whites growing up, but as I, grown into myself more, obviously I have a black daddy. So then I started to be more comfortable with being around blacks as well. So, to me, it seems like it's more so dependent on what you're used to, but I don't know. There may be something there, something to think about. But I appreciate it, Josh. I got to move the calls. Thank you, man.
Okay, man. Thank you, bro. Love the show.
All right.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, man.
Yep.
All right, let me move the calls here. Let me go to Jaden out of California. Jaden, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
What's up, Joel?
How's it going, Jaden?
Amazing.
Right on.
Dude, I almost never watch your show after Jesse's, but when I do, it's like the exact topic I've been thinking about for weeks, bro.
Right on.
Like you're reading my mind half these times. It's crazy.
Right on, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in.
Right. And I also want to preface, I'm a quarter black, so I am mixed. And I'm going to tell you that race mixing is wrong from a biological standpoint for 2 reasons.
Okay.
The first one is that there's actually scientific evidence that can point to the fact that race mixed children have a higher chance of getting like heart diseases, genetic deformities, and like critical organs. Like it will make them less healthy to be race mixed, and they live longer on average.
Okay.
Not by too much. It's not like they're dying at 20, right? But,
right.
you know, it's still less healthy than if you were to just go with your own race.
So they die at like 91 instead of 92.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead.
And also, another part about that is you actually lose your racial features over time if you keep race mixing, right? So for the example, you know, black people got them froze, you know?
Yeah.
But
that's true.
If you keep breeding with Asians and then you breed with whites, the next generation, the Mexican, you're going to lose the fro. The fro is no longer going to exist.
That's true.
Right.
So my fro don't be. If it gets long, it's not like a real black fro. But when my hair is short, I can't get waves like the real blacks because I got a little bit of good hair in there.
You need a do-rag.
I see. Maybe I need a do-rag. I need to fully assimilate.
Yeah, my dad had a do-rag. He's in jail right now. But besides just that, there's another reason why you should not race mix. It's that, and this is the actual part where you can like contest it.
Yeah.
Like certain races do have actual advantages over other races. Like for the example, I ran track and field, right? Dude, I'm a quarter black, and I got dusted by the full black kids. All of them. None of them. I ran the mile because I knew I wasn't that fast. But, like, I've never seen a white person dominate in sprinting, like, at any level. Not even at just a fresh, at any level. It's always a black kid, right?
Yeah.
But you would agree that black people are faster than
look at the past Olympics. The black sprinters were winning.
Right. And it goes even to not just physical stuff, like intelligence, right? Asians are more intelligent than any other race by far, right? That's why they're inventing all the freaking AI stuff. And then whites are, I mean, I have like loose studies for this, but whites are more creative than any other race, right? I mean, if you look at like Leonardo da Vinci, Van Gogh, like the best painters of all time, they're white, right? And if you start race mixing, you're going to basically dampen these advantages.
Dilute.
Right.
Okay.
And I can tell you for a fact because I'm faster than any white person I know, but I'm slower than every black person, right? But I'm also less smart than most white people I know. It's like you're dampening it.
Well, it sounds like you're getting best of both worlds. You're faster than the whites, but then you're slow. But no, well, let me just, all jokes aside, is what you're saying, I'm not saying is entirely wrong, but you're putting a rule on it that I don't believe exists. I don't believe that whites are just born smart. I don't believe that blacks are just born fast. Now, in numbers, that's what we see, right? We see over time that's just like in big groups, we see that that's the case. But I don't think that that's a rule that whites are smart and blacks, we just see that. But I don't think smarts or speed or anything has to do with the color. I think these are things these are things that are colorless. Because there's a lot of black people who are just as smart. There's a lot of black people, maybe not in the same numbers as the whites, but are equally as smart. And there's a lot of white people who are pretty fast too. Maybe there's a white man that didn't get to the Olympics that may be faster than the black. And there's some white men that are faster than some black men, right?
I would agree, but the outlier does not break the rule, right?
What do you mean?
Like, just because there can be one black person who's smarter doesn't mean that black people are less smart than white people on average.
But it does, though. It does. The reason why is because it has nothing to do with the color. Because if it had to do with the color, then yes, then whites will be all smart, blacks will be all this, and everybody would have their different things. But that seems not to be the case. There are exceptions to the rules. And go ahead.
It is, but it's also based on, you're right, it's based on a little bit of culture. Because if you take a black kid and you never train him how to run, because in black communities, like being the fastest, like you get a prize, right?
Right.
If you never teach him how to run, of course he's going to be less fast than the white people. But his potential within him is what I'm saying is the potential to be faster than white people if he was trained that way. If they're both trained that way, the black person is going to come on top more times than not.
If they're both, so let me make sense of it. So if both people are trained the same way, but one is black and one is white, and they're both born in the same place, you think that the black will still be faster?
Yeah.
And why? And why so? Interesting.
Because it's literally encoded. If you believe in evolution, which I don't know if you do, the black people in Africa evolutionarily had to be the best athletes to catch their food and survive, right? And the best ones who were the fastest passed on their genes because they were the ones who won the hunt. In Europe, we had farms. We didn't really need to hunt anymore. So now it became more of the genes that are going to get passed on is who can create the best weapon, who can create like muskets and stuff, right? And so that means the smartest people would pass on their genes. And so that's why you see over time, all these different races have different advantages because of where they were geographically when they were evolving.
Interesting. That's an interesting point. That's definitely something to think about, passing on the genes. I never really got into how that works or what that means. But I do believe that that's a possibility. You can pass on genes. And that definitely is possible. But I also question the spirit. You know, if we're looking at the spiritual side of things, because there is genetics, but then when there's the spiritual side of things, it's hard for me to believe that anyone would be born with a lack of anything, or anyone is incapable of being just as smart or just as fast. And that's where I always end up falling back to. The genetics thing is interesting too, and there may be a lot to play with that, but what about the spirit, in your opinion? Then that would mean that blacks or whoever else it's not even possible to be as smart as whites.
Well, you know that saying where they say like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard?
Right.
Like I experienced that firsthand when I ran track. Like I was not faster than any black kid on there, but when I started training, and I see the black kids who were just lazy because they already had the talent. I was training to become faster every day, like for hours on them.
Right.
I would beat half of them, but the ones I wouldn't beat were the ones who also worked hard. Like you're right that black people, if they work hard, if they're really dedicated to it, they can become really, really smart.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's in their DNA for them to be as smart as white people.
Interesting. Now you had me thinking, but one thing I want to say, but I got to move the calls, so I'm going to say it when I hang up with you really, really quick. I appreciate it, Jaden. You're making good points. It's something for me to think about. And call me again, man.
All right.
All right. Thank you, man. Interesting. He made me think of something, but I'm trying to like properly explain it. Let me move the calls, and I'll have to smoke on this because I want to get it out without rambling to try to make sense of it. You know what I mean? But he makes some good points. Let me move the calls. Let's go to Maze. Maze at Ohio. Maze, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hello, Joel.
How's it going, Maze?
It's going just fine. Now, all these bright people calling in, I want to say, you know, some people it shocks some families when the baby come out, but the mother looks a different color and the father looks a different color, and they wonder how it happened and where did it come from?
Yeah.
Have you heard of that? It's like Sally Hemings and Thomas Jefferson. Or you can go with Robert E. Lee and all those different people. Race mixing is nothing new. It was just against the law at one time. It's not anymore.
Right.
So if you want to be with whoever you want to be with, and hair has nothing to do with it either. I don't know where they get confused about some hair being this way or the afro. They should be around people that don't look like black people, but they got afros just like the afros look the same.
Thank you, man. So you don't agree with the other guy that's saying that it dilutes
neither one of them.
Race mixing dilutes the races?
And being smart. Really? You know when your brain gets stuck and if your brain is stuck and you can't see any farther than your nose, that's what's wrong with a lot of people. And race mixing is nothing new. Won't be nothing old, because if you want to mix with somebody, with whoever you want to mix with, that's your business, not their business. And those that don't want to, and they are sneaking around the corner doing it anyway, pretending they hate people.
Right.
Those are the ones you better watch.
But do you think that, would you say that sometimes in some cases when a child hates their parents and they reject them, they tend to try to find something maybe subconsciously that doesn't look like their parents?
Yes, they try to replace it, some of them. And some of them just naturally, it's just a natural thing for some people to fall in love, have children, and live their life. But you got some people that don't like it.
Right. I agree with that. And that's what...
Their problem. That's their problem. But when it comes to smartness, I think somebody better go back and look and think about the smartness. Because the people that put the books out and put everything out for everybody to do the tests and everything else, who had a hand in it? You need to see who had a hand in when all this stuff came about.
Yeah.
So if it's one person out there putting out the books, who gonna know more about the books than the one that didn't have the opportunity to be in on the deal?
Yeah. No, I'm more concerned with what you had just said previously of the fact that people care so much about it. Like, meaning like trying to prevent it or trying not to prevent it. Like, you know, you can't, if people want to do it, it ain't your business to get involved. Now, if it's affecting you in your life, then don't be around it. But it shouldn't be law. My
brother-in-law worked in a morgue. He said, you know what? Black people and Caucasian people, when you draw the blood out of them, it's going to be a different color.
You said, say that last part again? You broke up. When you draw the blood out, what?
When you draw the blood out of them, somebody's going to be a different color. Or if you leave them out too long, they're going to be a different color. So when you die, you're going to be the same color as that black man you think that you got a problem with.
Dirt brown. Everybody dirt brown when the body is...
Yes.
Exactly.
So I see it that way. So mixed racing, there's nothing wrong with it if that's what you want to do.
Right on, Maze. Well, I appreciate it. I'm glad we can agree.
Yes. Sometime.
I know. Call me again, Maze. Thank you. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Thank you, Maze. I'm gonna keep the calls moving, but let me check the super chats here real quick. That's so funny. Terry Strayton says, you're valid. Right on, Terry. Right on. The homie Terry. She agrees with me today. Sometimes Terry and I, we disagree. So she agrees with me today, so we're friends. When she disagrees with me, we're not friends. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate it. The Key. Oh, the Key says salute to all my German chocolates. I read that one already. Right on, the Key. Let me check the super chats real quick, and then I'll get back to the calls. I'll get back to them. Lil C with 5 donuts. Thank you, Lil C, for the donuts. Appreciate it. Lil C says, how do you respond to someone who believes you're acting like a better Christian? How do you respond to someone who thinks that you're acting like a better Christian? That's a good question because, for one, you always have to, keep your eyes on yourself and make sure that you're not coming off that way, right? Make sure that you're not judging or not thinking that you are a better Christian, because sometimes that could be the case. So you always kind of want to know and be aware of yourself to make sure your ego's not puffed up or you're not looking down on somebody or judging them. So you want to always be aware of that. But also sometimes the other person can be just using that to drag you down, try to pull you down or poke at you, because they're bothered by the change in you. So it could be a lot of different things. It just depends on the situation exactly. But a lot of people who can't see, they will say like, oh, you act like you're better, or you act like you're no different than me. But it's not that either. Sometimes it's just that you're growing and they're not. And they can't comprehend that, and it bothers them. So they got to find a way to, talk bad about you. But I would really just make sure that you watch yourself and just see that's not true, so it can't be used against you. And if it is, then maybe you just gotta look at yourself a little bit. So, right on, Lil C. Appreciate the donuts. Appreciate that. Real one. Hake with 2 supers clapping hands. He might have sent the second one on accident because they're the same exact one. The computer maybe wasn't loading. He was like, "Oh shoot, I didn't do it. I didn't mean to do it twice." Thank you, Hake Report. Make sure you guys check out the Hake Report. Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. He got his own show. Make sure you guys tune into the Hake Report. Don't miss it. Okay, right on. Let me keep it moving here. Let's go to William out of California. William, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, what's going on, man?
How's it going, William?
Oh, man, it's all right. Good subject.
Right on.
Good subject. You sound like you was raised like me. It was not just all blacks and all of that stuff. And it depends on how you look at it, man. It just really depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
The people that are going to attract to each other are going to attract to each other. It's just that sometimes that I noticed that some of my black friends that dated white women dated them for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And, it's like most of the time I noticed some of them just absolutely did not want a woman that reminded them of their black mother.
Yeah. That's definitely a thing.
And that's not the right reason.
Right.
But I understand what you're saying. It's like, okay, I didn't see that many black girls in my neighborhood, but when I went out to school and went out to parties, I liked them.
Yeah. And
but that was just my preference. I've had white girls, Asian girls, having all kinds of girls because it was a progressive area where you grew up.
Yeah. And, typically what happened was when I was growing up, my mom took me out of the schools that were ghetto schools, right? Like I went to an all-black school in 6th grade and it was a mess. So my mom took me out of that. So she put me in more like mixed schools, and schools were like, it was just kind of as decent as it could be. Exactly. But I never really dated black women because it wasn't that she wasn't black, because there's very attractive black women in the world. This just reality.
Well, I noticed that. I noticed 2 different situations. I've seen guys that just absolutely say, man, I don't want none of them. I'm talking about black guys. I don't want none of them.
Okay.
And it's like, that makes me kind of cringe. It's like, and then you got some that just, they're married and they're happy, they're mixed, and they got mixed kids and they happy, and they just cling to each other for the right reason, and it worked.
Yeah.
But the one where, like, the caller that was on the phone a few minutes ago, he had a point. They kind of, when they push it, like he said, like the gay thing, there was gays. There was always gays.
Yeah.
Now you got queers.
Yeah.
And that's pushed.
Yeah, no,
it seems to be, and that's just my opinion. It seems to be pushed because really nobody care about you being gay.
Yeah,
be gay.
Yeah, exactly. That's
can you shoot the ball? I used to tell
them,
you want to get in this game? Oh man, you got handles.
And it didn't have.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
Now it's advertised and pushed and. Oh.
That's what I'm saying. But, I want to add to that because I'm running out of time here. Is that it wasn't if you, because the point is that if we play basketball, using your example, is that can you play? And it didn't matter if you were gay or not. And I didn't want to know if you were gay or not, because now because now that you tell me,
you was gay.
Right.
Yeah,
now that you tell me, then now I'm thinking about it. So nobody really cared.
Well, they do that a lot now versus back then. It was like nobody cared.
Right.
We may have not have known who was gay.
Right.
Because the only time I only knew about 3 in my school, and that was a long time ago. But who knows? It might have been more.
Right.
But they push that to a point, and they don't make up for that much of the population. So then they think that you need to. I mean, it's even the race thing on the commercials. You see some of these commercials, 2 men kissing, and then purposely putting a white woman with a black guy on the commercials, which is nothing wrong with it. But it's like, come on now, we've seen this. This has been around for a long time. It's not a big deal and everything, but why does it have to be promoted?
Why does it have to be promoted? Exactly. It's promoted everywhere now. And they're overdoing it, and overdoing it is the problem.
I think so.
So I agree with that, William. I appreciate that.
I got to get out of here, man. Shout out to Chase in Texas. I hope you get down there to the race. I'm getting ready to get on a plane and get down here to the Formula One.
Right on.
Race down here in Austin, Texas. And he was just in the chat talk. He's asking about going. And I'm like, man, you need to check it out. It's nothing like it. But
right on, William. Well,
get out here and vote. Everybody vote. Everybody vote.
That's right.
Got smashed last night, so everybody go out and vote early.
That's right, William. I appreciate it, man. Have fun over there. All right, man. Thank you. Nice. I want to say really quick to that, and then I'll try to squeeze in. I have like a couple minutes here. I'll try to squeeze in some more calls. I'm not even big on promoting relationships, straight couples. I don't think that that's necessary to be posting and promoting your straight stuff. I think it all should be in the closet. All right, I mean, nobody needs to know what you got going on. Nobody needs to know that you're so happy in your marriage. If people come across you and see that, then cool, right? But I don't think that we need to be promoting same or opposite sex, heterosexual stuff. Like, let that be privacy too. Stop pushing stuff in general. Like, let people, when we go on the public, we should just all see that we're individuals in the perfect world, right? I know that don't exist, but we should just see that we're all individuals. We don't need to be all kissing and holding and hugging and doing all that stuff in general. It's all kind of uncomfortable, whether you're straight or gay. It's all uncomfortable, really. Same reason why the little kids, they're like, ew, when they see grown-ups kiss, because it's like, come on. So we don't need to be pushing anything. And secondly, I never dated black growing up. It's because not that they were pretty. They weren't pretty. It was because the attitudes that came with it. The black girls that I came across, they always had the little attitude. And that was unattractive to me because, for one, I wasn't used to that, right? And I didn't know how to deal with that. Like, why are you yelling at me type of thing? I didn't come from that. My mother's not like that. So that wasn't what I was used to. So I didn't like that type of stuff. But it was not because she was black that was the issue. I had crushes that were black girls, growing up. But it's the character that was always off for me. Like the attitude, the anger is really the anger. So it ain't got nothing to do with black girls being black or anybody being anything. I never dated Asian either. Nothing against them, but I just didn't. There was nothing that drew me to them to want to be like, oh, okay, blah blah blah. But the ones I dated were the ones that I was surrounded by, the places that I grew up, the people who were into the things that I was into, right? That's just how it is. But I don't think it has to do with color, is what I'm saying. It's all I'm saying. So, great call so far. I'm going to try to squeeze in the last minute here. Let me go to first-time caller, Liesel, out of California. Liesel, welcome to the show. A few minutes here. You're on the air.
Hi, Joelle. I'm busy myself, but I'm helping a friend move, and so I kind of was listening to you off and on. But
Nice.
I didn't get the whole gist of what you were saying. But I'm going to go back tonight and listen to your whole show.
Okay.
But I think I understand. Oh, Joelle, you're very articulate. I was kind of joking with Hake when I said something about you, and I know that the chat erupted. But
it was you.
You know what? I like your content, Joelle, because even though I'm done with relationships, I'm divorced.
Okay.
It's very interesting on your take on relationships, because when I was your age, I was really into analyzing all that crap. But anyway, So now that you're talking about interracial, can I just throw my 2 cents in about that? Because I heard like the last minute what you just said about your life. My mom, she married my dad. My dad, his mom, my dad's mom was black. And then his dad was like, I think Irish. I looked at my genetics and stuff. But it was interesting because my mother, she kind of brainwashed me about black guys. Even though my dad's half black, but he looked Puerto Rican. He looked, kind of like Latin.
Oh, okay.
But she, from a very young age, she put black people down, my mom.
Yeah.
So as I was growing up, I saw some good-looking black guys, but I was always drawn to white guys. She brainwashed me. She said, you need to just make sure you date white. Although I did, when I was in the Navy, That's how I met my ex-husband. He was Romanian. He was a white guy. So it was just interesting how it was out of my control. I mean, I'm from an interracial, I'm multiracial. Yeah. Actually, my mom has Italian in her. Surprisingly, she has Italian in her genetics. But it's out of my control. I mean, I like who I like, and I think I kind of got a glimpse of the chat. Did they say that are you for or against interracial? I don't know what I'm for. I'm for finding the right person, I guess. Joelle?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
it's interesting.
100%. It's not that. I just don't think that we should put emphasis on avoiding or going for people based on the color. You just want what's right.
Oh,
you want what's right.
My mom was. The Asians are notorious. My mom is Filipino, and she looks Chinese. She doesn't even look Filipino. She looks Korean. I'd always get, is your mom Japanese? Blah blah. No, she's from the Philippines. They are notoriously racist. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. Especially against black people. But Joelle, may I call you back next time, dear?
Yeah.
Because when you mentioned skating, real quick, you mentioned skating. So I was raised in the 70s and 80s, so that was our thing, Joelle. Skate. And then when you said about like the rollerblades, I don't like rollerblades. So can I call you back about skating maybe one day? I'd like to ask you about what you do at the roller rink and how, it's so fun. And, I'm attracted to people who like to dance. And so when I heard about you, skating and stuff like that, I said, I got to call him back. So I'll let you go, dear. I'm busy helping a friend. But
really quick, Lolizo, before you go really quick, relationships is not the only thing I talk about on my show. So you can tune in. There is other things that I talk about. So don't avoid it because you're not married now, okay?
I had a question. My friend just asked me because we're looking at your face. She said, do you draw your freckles in?
No, I don't draw my freckles. That's too much work.
Joel, you're fun. Thanks, Joel. Say hi to Hake. Say hi to Nick. Right. And say hi to Jess. I'll call him next week. Thanks, Joel. It's fun.
All right, I appreciate it, Lisa. Uh-oh. No, that's funny. Man, I'm so out of time. Let me see. Check the super chats. I'm so out of time. This is my thing, and I gotta end. Is just live life. Don't be thinking about all this crazy stuff. If you don't wanna, you just let things happen. You don't want to tell yourself not to date another race. You don't want to tell yourself you're gonna date. You just want to just leave it be. Because all that stuff is not important in you. What's important is that are you right? Are you working on yourself? Are you overcoming? Right? Peace. That's what is important. So you want to do that, and whoever comes across your path along the way, then don't put resistance against it because you have all these teachings. Oh, but she's white though. Nuh-uh. Let it be what it's gonna be, and just see what happens. Maybe you're just supposed to learn. Maybe you're just supposed to learn a little bit. So anyway, I gotta go. What's today? Dang, today's Thursday. I'm not here tomorrow, but guess what? I'm back here on Monday. I'll be back here on Monday for some more mess. I had some more stuff I wanted to get to, but we just couldn't get to it. We couldn't get to it. Callers that are still on the line, I can't get to. I gotta end. And until next time, y'all. Appreciate the super chats. Great calls. Thank you guys for tuning in. And also thank you for hopping in the comment section and commenting and fellowshipping with me and all that good stuff. I do read them. Can't always get to them, but I'm reading. So I appreciate it. American Anchor Baby coming in at 4 p.m. today. All that good stuff. Follow Joel Friday TV across the board. Instagram, YouTube. And subscribe and share and all that good stuff. Know for yourself. Think for yourself. So you can't be deceived. All right, y'all. I'm gone. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday, if the Lord is willing.